So previously we started talking about slope. Remember, to find slope on a graph, we found out however many boxes or segments it went up or down. That's called the rise. So that was how many it went up or down. And we then compared it to the run. That's however many it went left or to the right. So we are going to use that strategy at first as a little warm-up for our first example. So using what we've learned, it says determine the slope of the line. Remember, you want to pick any 2 points on the line. Remember, they want to be sort of where the little crosshairs are, like here or here. You do not want to pick a point that is here because you don't know that exact location. So I'm just going to randomly choose this point here and this point here. So if I build my triangle, I saw that I was rising 1, 2, 3, and since I went up 3, it's positive, and I went to the right one. So to find my slope, and remember that's represented by m, my rise was 3, that's however many I went up, and I'm dividing it by my run, which was how many I went across, and 3 divided by 1 is 3. Remember, I could have chosen a point down here and used this point up here. I could have decided to go down and to the left. Same thing if I count, I'm going down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. When I go down, it's negative. And I'm moving left 1, 2. And since I move left, it's negative. So to find the slope between those 2 points, same thing. Negative 6 divided by negative 2 still gives me a positive 3. So that should have been a recap of what you've already learned, and that was called the rise over the run. With this next example, to find the slope, we could still do rise over run. However, there's another strategy to use. Another strategy is to pick 2 points, and that's what we're going to do right now. So we're going to choose 2 points. And basically to find your slope, it would be, you're going to use this formula, y minus y divided by x minus x. Another way you could think of that would be m is equal to the change in y and divided by your change in your x. So I'm going to give you a few examples on this. Your first step when you're doing this strategy is to pick 2 points. Just like before, it does not matter which 2 points you choose, but you're going to want to make sure you are in the cross section, or the little crosshairs. So I might choose this point here, and that ordered pair of that point is 1, 3. I might also choose this point up here, and the ordered pair of that is 2, 5. My next step then would be to write them side by side. So I would put 1, 3, and my other one was 2, 5. Just like I have here, it's the change in y, or basically subtracting your y values, and we're going to divide it by the change in x, which is subtracting your x values. So if I do that, remember your y values are your second numbers in an ordered pair. So if I do 3 minus 5 by subtracting my y values, and then if I subtract my x values of 1 minus 2, I would get for my final answer, 3 minus 5 is negative 2, 1 minus 2 is negative 1. When I take negative 2 and divide it by negative 1, I get a positive 2. So remember, for this new strategy that you will have to show me that you know what you are doing on your test for this, you basically pick 2 ordered pairs, you write them out, you subtract your y values in your numerator, you subtract your x values in your denominator, and then you divide, and that will give you your slope of the line. You could have also seen this, like I said before, if we did it that other way with the building your triangle. I was going up 2 to the right 1, and if I would take 2 divided by 1, I get 2. So it's the same thing, because it's the same line, it's the same information. But just know you will have to do it this way and this way. So the lesson today, we are going to focus on doing it with the 2 ordered pairs. Okay, so for this one, we are once again going to do the same thing. You can ignore the directions. We're just going to find the slope of this line. So remember, m, or your slope, is equal to the changes in your y. So I'm going to subtract my y values divided by the changes in my x values. So remember, it does not matter which ordered pairs you choose. I might choose this ordered pair, which is 2, 1, and I might choose this ordered pair, which is 8, 5. Remember, it does not matter which ordered pairs you choose. So if I do that, I would have, if I write them out, I'm just going to move this up a bit, I would have 2, 1 and 8, 5. Remember, my step to find my slope, I would subtract your y values, 1 minus 5, and then I'm going to subtract my x values of 2 minus 8. 1 minus 5 is a negative 4. 2 minus 8 is a negative 6. If I would divide that, or first if I would reduce that fraction, I would get 2/3. So you could leave it as 2/3 on your test, or if you put it in your calculator, it would technically be 0.6 repeating. Any of these answers would work. Now some kids might say, well, why did you put the 2, 1 first and the 8, 5 second? Let's see what happens if I switch them. So let's see, and I'm just going to draw a line here. Let's see if I put the 8, 5 first and the 2, 1 second. So if I subtract my y values and then subtract my x values. So if I subtract my y values, and those must always go in my numerator, I would have 5 minus 1, and my x values would be 8 minus 2. 5 minus 1 is 4, 8 minus 2 is 6. 4, 6 reduces to 2/3, which in your calculator is 0.6. Do you see that they match up? These are equal. So please remember, it does not matter which ordered pair you put first or second. No matter what, if you're doing it correctly, subtracting your y values in your numerator, subtracting your x values in your denominator, you would get the correct answer. Okay, so for this problem, I want you once again just to ignore the directions, what it states. Instead, we're just going to find the slope like we did in the previous examples. So remember, it does not matter which two ordered pairs you choose. So I'm going to choose this one down here and this one up there. So the one down here, my ordered pair is -3, -1. My ordered pair up here is 0, 5. So if we would start to do this, write them down, and remember, it does not matter which ordered pair I write first. So if I put 0, 5, and then -3, -1. Remember, we subtract our y values. So be careful when you're doing that this time. I would have 5 minus a -1. Because this is a -1, you have to include that and the minus sign. Make sure you do that. If I subtract my x values, I would have 0 minus -3. 5 minus -1 would give me a 6. 0 minus -3 gives me 3, and if I divide those, I would get a +2. Remember, it does not matter if I would have put the -3, -1 first and the 0, 5 second. As long as you are subtracting your y values and subtracting your x values, you will get the same answer that I have listed. Let's try just a few more together. So this is on page, I think it's actually on page 88 in your book. If we did this problem, remember what you're going to do, and it says using 2 different points. I'm just going to make you find the slope using the method I just showed you. So remember, pick any 2 points you want. So I might choose this point here and this point down here. So this point up here would be 0, 20. The point down here would be 30, -10. The reason why I wanted to do this problem with you guys is, remember, you have to be aware and always pay attention to your scale. So if I do this just like before, I would list my ordered pairs 0, 20, and 30, negative 10. If I subtract my y values, I would get 20 minus negative 10. If I subtract my x values, I would get 0 minus 30. Well, 20 minus negative 10, excuse me, would be the same as 20 plus 10, which is 30. And 0 minus 30 is a negative 30. Once you divide, because that's always your final step, in this case, I would get a negative 1. So this work that I'm showing you right here is the work you need to do on your homework assignment tonight. So basically for your homework, this is exactly what you're going to do, all of these, all of this work. Your homework would start on this next page. Your homework for tonight would be in your book, page 89 through 92. It's really not that much homework. Make sure you're doing it the exact technique that I showed you right here. If you have questions, please ask your neighbor, and of course I will be back to help you with it on Monday. One thing, guys, when you get to this page, whoops, when it tells you to calculate the slope of 2 different points, you don't have to. You only have to do it for 1 point. Just like the strategy I showed you in the previous example. 1 pair of points. So remember, you pick any 2 points you want to, find the ordered pairs, and subtract your y's, subtract your x's, and divide to calculate your slope. So that would be the same for that one. When we get to this problem, it is the same technique. Some kids might get nervous because they see a fraction, but remember, you could change this ordered pair to negative 6, 0.5, and you would just be doing it the same way. When you get to this problem down here, you don't have to do this. Okay, so you can cross that out. And that's your homework for this evening. So remember, you only have to set it up for 1 pair of points, and it starts on pages 89 to 92. As always, help one another, and I hope this video helped you understand this, and I will help you when I return. And enjoy your day.